Well, let me stop you there then. Explain the cover of the album. There's a four-eyed, what looks to be a nun.
Well, she's a nun, yeah. It's well, that's one of the things. I didn't think of the nun aspect as much. I like Catholic art. You know, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I
I was
like
talking about this with my buddy the other day, like Leonardo, Michelangelo.
Yeah, there's a lot of great art was done in the name of religion.
Same with music.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, but that was more about, the good blues is about hellhound on my trail, and it's about, beating up your wife and stuff like that. Yeah. But kind of religious in a way. But but a lot of religious art was because the Vatican had money. The church had the money to pay, same as the kings had the money to pay the composers. Just like all the big classical composers, the biggest stuff they did was for the king and the court, because they commissioned most of Da Vinci's big art was commissioned.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say what he. That's what I'm saying. So what he really believed in, that's another question, But there's a lot of great religious art. I was surprisingly enough flicking through eBay, and I found this old statue, which is about 120 centimeters, which is in feet, whatever, of a nun from the late, I'd say, 1800s, for like $200. So I bought it because I like nuns, and I was just exploring nunsploitation, like nun softcore porn. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I was just, No, it's like if you've seen what's that one movie? Some of the blaxploitation stuff. It's crazy. Right. It's just funny, and I didn't even know that nunsploitation existed, and nuns are fun. So I wanted one old piece of a nun, and what I did was she'd been sitting there near to my bed where I wrote most of Screamworks the album. So she'd been kind of the mentor, the spiritual character for the album in a way. So before I went over to LA with the rest of us to record the album, I took some pictures of home. I always do digi-pictures just for messing about on Photoshop, and I don't know why. I just always do that, and a lot of times there's been stuff we've been able to use later on. Cool. So before the recording started with Matt Squire, I just started Photoshopping stuff, and then I came up with that thing. And I've always been a huge fan of optical illusions. So that's kind of combining everything, and then the Andy Warhol kind of vibe. But I wanted it to have more of the early '80s Sue and the Banshees, like new wave art. The kind of lot of strong colors, not a lot of shading, just black and white and wrong color calibration, which is more like Andy Warhol. So those are all the things I wanted to come together, and then they did in the shape of that particular lady. So the fact that she's a nun, I think that she's nuns are sexy, nuns are cool. I call her the Saint Scream. There's like Saint Valentine, and there's a song called Catherine Wheel, which is kind of loosely based on Saint Catherine.
You're a fan of the band?
Catherine Wheel, I only know the name, and that's one of the reasons I spelled our song with a K. Okay, yeah. I wanted to make that difference, because Catherine Wheel is a historical torture device. It's not just that band, but a lot of people don't know it, so I don't want people to think we're that desperate.
I thought you were a huge Catherine Wheel fan.
No. I knew the band, but I don't own any of the albums or anything like that. I knew more from Iron Maiden's Torture Method, and I've always loved Saints. They're fabulous, the stories there, because they're all sad stories. They've done something miraculous, and then their heads are chopped off. It's just like, why? And then Saint Catherine is the one with who always she carries a broken wheel. So I wanted to, read about it more and figure out what that's all about. And then I got the Catherine Wheel thing, and then the fireworks part, and then the band part, and the torture method, thing, and then there's a lot of things.
I have to get this question in because I really wanted to ask you about that sense of. That aesthetic of dark, when it comes to him, there's a dark imagery there, almost like a metal imagery. I mean, we're talking about metal here. Obviously, you're from Finland, there's a lot of great metal bands from there. Also, the contrast, though, with the sound of him is very, especially on this record, there's almost a pop sensibility to it. I mean, the keyboards, I think, maybe are a little bit heavier on this record. You hear them a lot more. There's always been this balance, I think, with him when it comes to darkness and light.
Yeah, well, it's Part of it could be indecisiveness, not sure what we want to do. Part of it could be the fact that we didn't really want to, be full-on metal or full-on pop or...
Was that because coming from Finland there were so many metal bands?
No. When we started out, we were one of the first bands making it internationally. Yeah. Hannah Rocks in the 80s kind of built up their name, but they never sold any records. They never toured North America or, So, no, not in that sense. When we were starting out, there was a Stradivarius who sound like, like I made a kind of Rhapsody, kind of technical, super high vocals and stuff like that. They were around, and a lot of black metal, Impaled Nazarene and all that stuff, which I love. But no, we're huge fans of Type O Negative, Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, Anathema, of all those bands. And I always loved really melancholy music. I was a big fan of Chris Isaak, whose Wicked Game we started to cover. That was one of the first songs we ever played.
Yes.
And then one of the first songs we ever played was Live to Tell by Madonna, and then Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, and I Just Died in Your Arms by Tonight. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight by the Cutting Crew, which is a funny thing that Damin, who was supporting us, they're playing that song. So it's kind of funny. It's a small world again. But I always loved pop songs. I love big melodies. I think that huge chorus, an anthemic chorus, is way more interesting than a blast beat.
Some people say it's actually harder to write that as opposed to like a super technical metal song too.
I think they're all hard to write. Good music is hard to write, whatever it might be. But then again, you got to remember that there's a gazillion metal bands trying to do super technical stuff, and very few of them make memorable riffs that are super technical. Very few. Yeah. So it's all tough. It's very tough to write a memorable black metal tune. How many black metal bands are good? At the end of the day, there's gazillion. And there's like Cradle of Filth, Bam Margera, Satyricon, Gorgoroth, a couple of others, Mayhem, and then the classic Immortal, Impaled Nazarene, stuff like that. But whatever, But so it's anyway, writing music that reaches out to people and touches people is tough, and you can't do it on that being your purpose. In pop music, you do that. You're trying to make a song that gets played on the radio as much as possible, and you get a lot of money by doing that. That's kind of funny, actually. A lot of producers nowadays, a lot of musicians, they want to write songs, which is crazy. That never happened 10 years ago. Nobody wanted to be a songwriter. They wanted to be in bands because you get to travel, you get the girls, and you get the party, and you get the drugs and the drink and all the good things. And now everybody wants to be a songwriter. That's because that's where the money is.
What about him?
Oh, nobody's ever asked me to write a song for anybody. No, I feel that for me, at least at this part of today I feel that when a song comes out, it's always so highly personal that it would be really, really weird to give a song away, because I think a melody explains how you're feeling. Because I know a couple of my friends, they're people who sit down to write a song. That I'm going to write a song today. That's how they do. They approach it like work, like plumbing, and I don't. So I approach it as in when I'm feeling really blue and I don't know what's bugging me and I can't explain it in words. That's when I pick up a guitar.
And then that's where a song like Heart Killer would come out.
Yeah, more or less. And then it needs a lot of work to get it in that shape and in that form. Man. Well, yeah, but I had a good muse, and it happens. It happens in very, very different ways. But I like it being magical, and I like it being personal, and I like it being that there's the sense of mystery as opposed to the sense of sitting in a room like this, like a boardroom, and deciding that now we're going to write this or this kind of song. It just feels like work.
I know we have to go here. My last question, though, is how important was Bam Margera's interest in him to the success of him in North America?
Hugely, hugely important. And I'm really glad that Bam's interest in the band was purely personal. He was doing a skate demo tour around Europe.
That's where I first heard him.
Oh, cool. And so he was in Helsinki. He saw up the posters of Razorblade Romance, the album we have, a pink covered one. And he bought the album since he always buys a lot of albums. He loves music in general. He fell in love with the album so much that he wanted to fly over from Philadelphia to see us play in Amsterdam. And then he did it again flew from Philly to his play in London, and that's when he came on knocking on the door, and that's our first introduction to how we kind of like became friends bit by bit. And then all of a sudden, you know, he started tattooing and having a hologram all over the place and using our music and directing a couple of videos for us. So everything happened really organically and naturally, and that's really rare. So there wasn't like any like big golden
moments,
or like golden handshakes in like that you would be in a big biz party with people introducing people. It's just happening. And then the next time around, you know, the funniest thing, when actually me and Bam, when we became friends, was that he flew over to Helsinki, and then Arto Saari, the other the only Finnish skateboarder, a good professional skateboarder, he was out of Finland, so Bam didn't have any friends, so I had to show him around. So I got him so drunk that I had to piggyback him back to a hotel and stuff like that. And that's how we became really good friends, and that's how we all started. So yeah, it's been hugely influential. Same with Kat Von D.
Yes.
She likes the band too a lot, and she's got like a hologram tattoo, so you can see that in a lot of places. And so that travels really well.
Video with you guys, right?
Killing Loneliness, yes. Yeah. And she's done a lot of ink on everybody in the band, and she's just a friend we met through a mutual friend back in 2002 or 2003. So we go back a long way too. So it's funny, it's a small world, and that was way before we met Bam before Jackass was big.
Yeah,
we met Kat
like
way before.
Days.
Yeah, like right at the end, they had shot Jackass the movie. Sorry, they just started airing the series in America. So nobody knew him in Europe at all, and so that was the very beginning of that. And then same with Kat, she didn't have any like TV things going on or whatever. So it's all.
They really were just fans of the band.
Yeah, and we just became friends because of Rainbow Bar and Grill or whatever. You know, but it's that's the funny thing. So in a way, I could say that it's all because of the hologram.
Cool.
That's the reason for their success.
Dude, thanks for your time, man.
A pleasure, probably.
This has been Overtime with Explore Music. All our interviews are archived, audio and video too. Look at them the next time you're online. It's there at exploremusic.com.
You've been listening to the Explore Music Podcast. For more, check out exploremusic.com. Explore Music is a presentation of Chorus Interactive and Integrated Solutions.